HOA Karen poured paint on tennis court, sued, and fined $160,000. The community notice board was plastered with Karen's face before the paint even dried. Her smug grin in that old HOA newsletter photo mocked us all, as if she knew she'd get away with it. By sundown, the entire neighborhood was buzzing with one word: justice. I'm Marcus, a single dad who moved to Willow Creek for a fresh start after a messy divorce. This quiet suburb, with its tidy lawns and shared tennis courts, was supposed to be my daughter Lily's safe haven. She's 14 shy and found her spark on those courts, practicing every evening with her high school team. The tennis court was our community's pride, funded by years of bake sales, car washes, and neighborly goodwill. It wasn't just asphalt. It was where kids like Lily found confidence, where retirees swapped stories, and where I could forget my troubles watching her perfect her backhand. But Karen Whitaker, the HOA's self-appointed queen, had other plans. Karen wasn't your average busybody. She was a hurricane in pearls, always armed with a clipboard and a vendetta. If your grass was half an inch too long, she'd slap a fine on your door. If your dog barked twice, she'd call a meeting to ban pets. Most of us just nodded and complied, too tired to fight her reign of petty tyranny. But last spring, her obsession with control took a darker turn. The tennis court, she declared, was an eyesore. The faded lines, the occasional cracks, she called it a blight on her vision of a perfect community. Never mind that she didn't play tennis or that the court was booked solid every weekend. Karen wanted it gone, replaced with a sculpture garden nobody asked for. At first, we thought she was just venting. She'd storm into HOA meetings, waving her manicured nails, demanding the court be demolished. It's a liability, she'd shriek, citing imaginary lawsuits. The board, a mix of spineless yes men and exhausted volunteers, tried to appease her with promises of repainting the lines. I was there, representing our street, pleading for the court to stay. Lily's coach, a wiry guy named Coach Dan, backed me up, showing budget sheets proving we could maintain it. Karen scoffed, her eyes glinting with that smug certainty. "You'll see," she said, storming out. We didn't know then how far she'd go. The trouble started subtly. One morning, and the court's nets were slashed, the posts bent. Kids whispered about seeing Karen's silver SUV parked nearby at odd hours, but no proof. Then, the sprinklers mysteriously turned on during practice, soaking the players and turning the court into a muddy mess. Coach Dan confronted Karen at her pristine colonial-style house, but she denied everything, clutching her coffee mug like a shield. "Maybe it's the kids," she sneered. "They're always so destructive." Lily came home crying that day, her sneakers ruined, her confidence shaken. I hugged her, promising we'd fix it. But inside, I was boiling. The real twist came when Mrs. Delgado, the 70-year-old widow who lived across from the court, dropped a bombshell. She'd been up late one night, battling insomnia, when she saw Karen sneaking around the court with a crowbar. Mrs. Delgado, who usually kept to herself, recorded it on her old flip phone, grainy footage, but clear enough to show Karen prying at the court's gate. She showed it to me in her cluttered living room, her hands shaking. "I didn't want to get involved," she whispered, "but that woman's gone too far." I felt a surge of hope, evidence, something to fight with. I shared it with the HOA board, expecting action. Instead, they hemmed and hawed, terrified of Karen's wrath. "We'll look into it," they said. I left the meeting fuming, vowing to protect the court myself. Then came the morning that changed everything. I was sipping coffee when Lily burst in, her face pale. "Dad, the court, it's ruined." I grabbed my jacket and ran with her to the community center. The sight stopped me cold. The tennis court was a battlefield of red paint, splattered like blood across the surface. Nets were shredded, rackets snapped, and tennis balls lay deflated in the mess. A crowd of neighbors stood gaping, some whispering, others shouting. In the center of it all stood Karen, holding an empty paint can, her chin high like she'd won a war. "This court's a disgrace," she declared, Now maybe you'll listen. The crowd erupted. Coach Dan lunged forward, only stopped by his wife grabbing his arm. "You're insane," he yelled. Karen didn't flinch. "I'm saving this neighborhood," she said, tossing the can aside. Lily clung to my side, tears streaming. I felt my fists clench. But Mrs. Delgado's voice cut through the chaos. "I've got it all on video," she said, holding up her phone. The crowd turned. Karen's face froze, her confidence cracking like thin ice. Mrs. Delgado, trembling but resolute, played the footage for everyone. Karen sneaking in at dawn, pouring gallon after gallon of paint, smashing rackets with a manic glee. The neighbors gasped. Karen stammered. "That's not me," but the evidence was undeniable. The fallout was swift and brutal. The HOA board, finally forced to act, called an emergency meeting. Karen tried to spin it, claiming she was protesting neglect, but the room wasn't buying it. Parents whose kids loved the court, retirees who'd fundraised for it, even the quiet neighbors who usually stayed out of drama, they all turned on her. I stood up, my voice shaking with rage, and recounted every petty power trip she'd pulled. Lily, braver than I'd ever seen her, spoke next, her voice soft but steady. "That court was my safe place," she said. "You took it away." The room went silent. Karen looked small for the first time, her clipboard nowhere in sight. Then came the legal hammer. The HOA, backed by the community's outrage, sued Karen for vandalism and emotional distress. The court case was a spectacle. Local news vans parked outside, neighbors packing the gallery. Karen's lawyer tried to paint her as a concerned citizen, but the judge wasn't impressed. Mrs. Delgado's videos, combined with testimony from Coach Dan, Lily, and me, sealed her fate. The court ordered her to pay $160,000, $100,000 for repairs, $50,000 for community damages, and $10,000 in punitive fines. Her pristine house went up for sale the next week. Rumor had it she couldn't afford to stay. The neighborhood celebrated, but it was bittersweet. The court was gone for now, and Lily's spark dimmed, though she tried to hide it. As the dust settled, we rebuilt. The community rallied, raising funds to restore the court better than before. New nets, fresh lines, even a shaded bench for spectators. Lily started practicing again, her smile slowly returning. Mrs. Delgado became a local hero, her quiet courage inspiring us all. Karen, meanwhile, vanished from Willow Creek, her name a cautionary tale whispered at barbecues. Some said she moved to another state, still complaining about ungrateful neighbors. I didn't care. Justice wasn't just the fine, it was seeing our community stronger, united against her chaos. What do you think? Did Karen get what she deserved? Or was the punishment too harsh? Share your thoughts. We're all ears.